Southern Africa is experiencing significant increases in crimes involving computers and the internet that are damaging economies as well as security. It is in this light that Namibia is hosting the Southern Africa Regional Cyber Investigation and Electronic Evidence Workshop in Windhoek with delegates from Botswana, Lesotho, Mauritius, Mozambique, the Seychelles, South Africa, Swaziland, as well as Zambia. Aaron Cooper, trial attorney of Computer Crime and Intellectual Property Section and facilitator of the workshop, as well as that's Geoffrey, Zgambo, a participant from Zambia, now joins us with more on this workshop. Good morning, gentlemen. It's good to have you. Good morning, and good morning, viewers. All right. How about we get straight into it? Before we talk about the workshop, how about we actually, touch base on what cyber crime actually is, for us, the ordinary person that might not really understand it.
Right. So, thank you so much for inviting us on the show this morning. I'm very pleased to be here. Cybercrime is an instance of criminals exploiting technology that we use every day in our daily lives. Whether it is cell phones, the internet, or computers, these technologies have provided society a way to grow and develop in positive ways. But those who seek to do us harm will exploit those very same items in order to make money or to cause damage to our economic growth or to our national security. And so frequently you will see cybercrime that relates to theft of money from online bank accounts, compromising confidential information, whether from databases that contain sensitive business information or health data, or even just old crimes being conducted using new technology, like drug dealing.
Right, right. And what are the consequences of cybercrime, to the economy and the security of a country? Geoffrey, would you like to touch base on that?
Yeah, basically, most of the time, people do not realize the economic impact on the crime that is perpetrated by cyber criminals or criminals. Usually there is a very negative impact, especially that most of African countries are emerging in knowing these crimes. They are new in most cases. So you discover that the impact is heavy, but it's not really talked about in most cases.
And Aaron, what would you say are the contributing factors, to Southern Africa specifically, being targeted by cybercrime?
Well, I would say there are a couple of different factors. The first is that cybercriminals tend to seek out places to locate themselves where there is a low risk and high reward calculus, where they think that there is not a likelihood of them being caught, and where they think there is enough, let's say, internet penetration and use of technology that they can actually victimize quite a large number of people. And so it seems to me that Southern Africa is in a situation where the use of technology is growing quite quickly and significantly, and at the same time, the capacity to investigate cybercrime and locate perpetrators and bring them to justice also needs to be brought along in the same way.
Okay, electronic evidence. How does this tie in with the workshop?
It's actually helping us a lot because in most cases, previously, if you look, these are emerging crimes, and most countries have not yet, enacted laws in order to successfully prosecute the perpetrators of these crimes. So, looking at the evidence that is fished out in terms of cyber crimes and presented before courts is quite a bit more confusing, except that, especially that there are a lot of, new terms that come about. But usually, as investigators, we are equipped through this same conference. We are equipped to make sure that the magistrates, the judges, understand exactly what this type of crime has, or the impact that it has to the economy and the like.
Aaron, as attorney of computer crime in intellectual property section, what are some of the most common offences that you've ever encountered?
So probably one of the most frequent offenses is something that involves an online criminal obtaining credentials for someone's bank account or email account or for maybe their business servers, and exploiting that information to access those systems without authorization. And they do this by installing software that is malicious. It is known as malware. And the malware is installed on the victim's computer without their knowledge. And so the attacker can then gather information from that computer and use that to, let's say, withdraw money from a bank account, or to obtain confidential information, maybe about a business deal that they can then use for competing bids, let's say, or to steal intellectual property. And one of the most difficult things about cybercrime is that it is a global issue. The internet doesn't have any borders, and so cybercrime doesn't have any borders either. And so one of the issues we're trying to address in this workshop is to facilitate international cooperation, both between the United States and our law enforcement partners in Southern Africa, but also between the countries in Southern Africa with one another. And so, so my hope is that going forward, this partnership will grow and we'll be able to carry that forward.
Okay. Geoffrey, in your country, would you say cyber crimes, are they common as well, and how are they practiced?
Yes, it's quite common. And the most prevalent cases that we have encountered as investigators are email hacking. Okay, and you know, there is so much online buying of motor vehicle in our country. So usually we discover that the hackers would hack somebody's email and redirect either the money or even the vehicle to another country for their benefit, of course. And then you leave the other person or the complainant, with no option but to complain, and then we take it up from there as investigators. So we have also a lot of, you know, ATM, you know, scammers who do, you know, insert gadgets on the ATMs, and then thereafter, you know, when people insert the ATMs, they get the data, and then you start withdrawing monies from either outside the country or within the region.
Right.
Yes.
Right now, okay, Aaron briefly, you know, stated what he expects, you know, from the workshop. You know, what do you, you know, expect to learn from the workshop, or to, you know, to overall to get from this workshop?
We expect to learn a lot. Firstly, we expect that the United States of America, for example, in this case, who are the trainers, would be able to narrow the gap in terms of sometimes the requests that we make to them, because you discover that in most African countries, the servers might be sitting in the United States of America. So you discover that we have had challenges in terms of, you know, successfully prosecuting the criminals. Even if you are sitting closer to the criminal, it will be very difficult because you need their input. So most like this workshop actually has narrowed the gap between ourselves and Southern African countries and the United States of America. So that's the most important thing that we've also gotten from this workshop.
Okay, so the workshop kickstarts today. What is on the program for today?
So we actually started yesterday, and we'll go through Thursday.
Right.
On the program today, we'll be discussing ways of gathering electronic evidence from computers and the internet. We'll be discussing computer forensics, which is a method of analyzing a computer in order to understand how it's been used, and how it's been used in specifically to engage in criminal activity that law enforcement is investigating. And then we'll also start beginning or click off our tabletop exercise, which is an exercise that we provide to the participants. It is a fictitious but realistic cybercrime that will require them to employ many of the techniques that they're learning about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Okay,
well, James, as we wrap up, any final thoughts, you know, on, you know, regarding the Southern Africa regional cyber investigation, as well as the electronic, you know, evidence workshop? Is there any final remarks from your side, Geoffrey?
Yes. First, maybe I should thank the Namibian government for facilitating such a workshop, and also the United States of America. We're so grateful because definitely from this time, our knowledge has been enhanced, at least we are so much equipped, we are better equipped than before, that we can now encounter, the cyber criminals head on.
Okay, Aaron, from your side, any final words?
I'd like to echo what Geoffrey said. Thank the Namibian government for being such a gracious host. The Prosecutor General, Martha Amalwa, was generous enough to spend yesterday morning and provide opening remarks for our conference. I think that is representative of the amount of attention that countries in Southern Africa are beginning to pay to this global issue. The global cost of cybercrime in 2014 was estimated to be in excess of $400 billion. And so every step that we take as a global community to mitigate the cyber threat is important, and we'll only be able to do that by working together.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and for your insights.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. There you have it, Aaron Cooper, trial attorney of Computer Crime and Intellectual Property Section and facilitator of the workshop, as well as Geoffrey Zgambo, a participant from Zambia. We'll be back with more of your